Yeah, no, I hear you. I would definitely go on va.gov too, and follow the steps. You'll be able to check the steps, for sure where you're at. Yeah, you won't hear a peep really, man. Rich, you would just go on va.gov, or if you went through a VSO, ask them. But as you start knocking out your appointments, your VSO should be able to see some of those results and kind of give you, yeah, there you go, says step two, yeah. Um, but as you knock out some of your big appointments, like the CMP exam and all ears, eyes, all that, it'll come. When did you start? Really depends. It takes
I sent my claim. I submitted my BDD on 7 August. I didn't know if I figured it's still too early, but I didn't know, does it take like a month before they call you, say, hey, you got an
yeah,
appointment here, there, somewhere else?
yeah, sometimes it takes that. Yeah, I was in the same boat. You should be fine.
Right.
Zachary Standeford, are you in? I don't see him in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Rich. I know it's 2 o'clock. I just don't want to waste anybody's time. Let's see here. Try to message him really quick.
David, you got to explain that stash though. What happened to the beard and why did we go just straight stash, brother?
I had to, man. I had to get back in uniform for 1 week to outprocess the Air Force. But I had a mustache before, so I kind of was like, I'll just keep that, at least something. So yeah, it'll slowly come back. Slowly. Hold on, let me message this guy and see. Zachary, you there, bud? Oh no, oh no.
He's missing an opportunity.
I
Thing
know,
about CrossFit is you must talk about CrossFit.
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, he says yes, I am. Okay, so he should be joining shortly. Hey, Mary, are you in the chat, logged in, something? Because he's saying he had a mix up that he thought it was to his time. Oh, he said he's gonna jump on. Never mind. I was gonna tell him if he wants to reschedule, but sorry, guys. Starting. Yes, John, I agree. Like yeah, in-house like VSO that like they do have people that come on that talk about VSO opportunities. It's kind of like it's like they do a lot of services. VSO is one of them, so definitely.
Hey guys,
Hey Zachary, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Sorry to keep everybody waiting. I'm on Central Standard Time, and I said there we go. I said 2 o'clock, and then I never actually verified whether it was if we were all on the same time. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm good to go.
No, no worries. I think as we all get out of the military, we have to get used to that. Like sometimes you're like you're in the zone of where you're at and that's it, and everything revolves
100%.
around that. Whereas like you're communicating with everybody else now, and you're like, wait a second, what time did you say?
Yeah,
But
100%. Yeah,
no,
that's
welcome.
thank
Welcome
you.
to Seven Eagle. I'm going to give you a real quick introduction. It's something that I just create, and then if you have anything to fill in, we'll just start the conversation from there.
Okay, sounds
Cool.
great.
Awesome. All right. It's my pleasure to introduce Zachary Standeford, Marine Corps infantry officer turned impactful coach and entrepreneur. After many years of leading Marines, Zach now co-owns and leads CrossFit Republic, where he applies his service-driven leadership to help others build resilience and push toward their potential. He's also co-host of the Daily Forge podcast, where discipline, responsibility, and personal growth are forged in real talk. Zach, welcome, man. That's a huge like what your life is after the military. So can you talk to us about like you're getting out of the Marines, like,
Uh,
and you're like, well, what do I do? Because all of us are asking that question, man. Like,
yeah,
what was your process?
it wasn't a direct. I will tell you, it wasn't a direct shot. So I was recruiting when I was deciding to get out of the Marines. So the good thing is I had a little bit of time. It wasn't like operational forces where it's like, as some of you know, it's like the op tempo is sometimes so tough to plan transitioning out of the military because it's just nonstop and they expect you to almost work until the very end in a lot of units, right? So I luckily, right, fortunately, was in Missouri recruiting for the Marines in Springfield. And so I ended up kind of getting my ducks in a row, learning about SkillBridge and contacting, which I actually used an Army office because we had no Marine base near me. I ended up using a, forgot what it's called because it wasn't in the Army, but like essentially their career counselor office out there in Fort Leonard Wood. Learned about the SkillBridge opportunities, also learned about CSP, which I didn't know what that was, and learned about that. And I actually technically went through CSP with the Army. We all call it SkillBridge, but it's very similar. I got placed at an e-commerce agency. You're gonna laugh, but I was doing HR work. I'm not a developer. I'm not a techie guy whatsoever. But I did some networking while I was still recruiting. I was on LinkedIn, just kind of connecting with local people. I knew I was going to stay in this area, so I really kind of put myself out there in the geographic area, looking for that type of gig. Now, if you want to connect all over the U.S., 100% easy to do that. And I'll check the chat too as you guys are talking. But either way, so just connect with people. You'll never know what happens. This guy was like, "Hey, come to this e-commerce agency if you can do the SkillBridge thing. And I would love to have you." So I ended up getting that SkillBridge. I got hired right out of it and was really happy about the salary I made. It was great. It really just wasn't motivating, right? It just wasn't that, I wasn't enjoying it. Like they were all great people. The agency was cool. They made websites, transactional e-commerce websites for some really big companies that you would know. But I was just like, I don't know, man. I was in front of a laptop like this all day, a little rough. And then the marketing director left that company. He ended up buying a business journal in this area, essentially like a publication that publishes business news. And so he asked me, "Hey, would you be interested in taking a sales role, essentially like designing marketing packages for local businesses and placing them digitally and in print and stuff?" And at that time, I was like really wanting some more sales skills, just from a business because I wanted to go the business ownership route. Um, so anyways, I ended up jumping over the business journal publication, selling marketing for a little bit. And once again, it was okay. Like it was a job. I was making decent money. It just wasn't fulfilling, right? Around
Yeah.
that time, the gym I was going to, I've been coaching there for 6 years. The owner, and it's a big gym. We have 380 members. It's just a very big gym. It's not your typical CrossFit gym of like, 180 to 100 members. It's a community. And he was like, "Hey, I'm done with this. I have so much other things I want to do. Would you be interested in purchasing it from me?" So a lot of negotiation back and forth. It took about 6 to 8 months to create the right terms for both of us. And then I ended up taking over that gym in November of last year. And I'll tell you what, it's been like one of the harder things I've ever done. It's the least amount of money I've ever made. I will tell you that. Now I'm getting by just fine, but it's definitely the least amount of money coming out of the Marine Corps as an officer and then to a couple decent jobs, but it's rewarding and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've got a lot of control and an influence over the success of it. And that's what makes me feel empowered every day. And gives me that creative margin that I really felt like I needed in my life after the military, because I was sick of just like, I got out because I was really just tired of not being able to have that creative bandwidth that you really want. And sometimes you're just limited, and that's just the government, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
if you're feeling that way, then obviously the government's not for you for the rest of your career. And that was me. I was like, I don't know if I can do this for the full 20. So it's not a government problem. It was a me problem. Government's been the way it is for a long time, So anyways, I know it's a little bit of a mouthful, but I'll stop for a second. Been running
No,
across.
I think
Jesse's
it's great. I
Yeah,
think it's great what you said. One of the big things too, like going back to like your first start was like how rushed it felt, like getting out. It doesn't matter how much time you had. I could have said, "Hey, you're out. You got your retirement orders," and now you're like, "Okay, well, what do I do? What's that next step?" And in the back of your mind, you're kind of thinking about, "Well, what do I want to do?"
right.
We ask here at Seven Eagle, like, what do you feel passionate about? What can you find passion into? It may not be something you thought of, but at some point it has to cross your mind. And that's a lot to think about. It doesn't happen overnight, kind of like with you. And you took a job, said, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this job just to at least find something secure, I guess. Was that kind of your like stance, like something that I just need to secure something to get my feet
100%.
wet? And then if it doesn't work out, I could always say no, which
Yep.
I think
100%.
that's a huge advantage of like the fact that you could say no. Can you? What did it feel like, and how long did you work for that company? Did you start feeling the itches of like, at this, I need an exit plan and it needs to be either now, or is this like, I have a little bit of time to figure this out while I'm still making money? What was that like?
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so SkillBridgers for 6 months, got hired on, worked there for another 6 months. I would say around 10 to 11 months in, around the time I was, or like around the time that other guy came up to me and said, "Would you like to come to this other business, the Business Journal?" That was around the time I was just sitting there at this desk, and it was right after just coming off of a meeting where like the what am I trying to say is like the severity in which they were treating a situation was up here, and I just placed it very low, and it was like coming off of that saying, "Man, is this really stress out here, and is this really the problems?" It's just like there's so many places that I really want to put my effort for this company, and I just don't believe that this is the worst thing that they're dealing with right now. And so I was like, the only way I'm going to get out of this mindset is if I build something or buy something and make it my own. And that's when I started feeling that way. But I'll be honest with you, I felt like even with the recruiting experience, I could have probably expedited the CrossFit situation faster, but I really wanted the sales experience. So even though I knew I was going the CrossFit direction, or at least ownership of business direction, I wanted to learn how to talk business, talk sales, talk strategy, talk top of funnel marketing, all the way to the bottom of customer decision making, understand building client profiles and ideal client ICPs, right? Ideal client profiles, and understanding what your marketing message is. Because I'm like, that's where I think a lot of business owners fail. Is like they have this service product that they can deliver really well. They just don't know how to tell people they have it. And so if you're in the passion of having a service or a product that you were like really passionate about, it's going to burn you out working too hard for it if you don't start with the definition of why you're doing it, or not even why you're doing it. It's like you're not the hero, the customer has to be the hero. So how do you make your customer your hero and you're just a mentor? And design your marketing in a way that's like, this thing's missing and I can help give it to you so you can finally win, because you're the hero and I want you to win. So I wanted to learn that, because that is literally the science of advertising and marketing and sales. And I just didn't understand it. Military's not, we don't need to market, recruiting is
Yeah,
a
you
little bit
just
of
do, you get paid whether or not you do good or bad. It's just,
Yeah, exactly. It's like the troops still come in somehow, recruiters make it happen, and the machine keeps turning. So
how scary was it? Like, so when you're like, hey, I'm going to quit this job that's paying me money, and I'm going to go into this business that, obviously it's doing well. You've attended the gym, but,
Mhm.
there's a difference between, hey, I attend the gym and it looks like it does
Yeah.
well. He's
Yeah.
selling it for his reasons, but then at the
Mhm.
same time, you're like, man, I'm jumping into this, but
Yeah.
does how far did you look in the future as like jumping into entrepreneurship? Did you go, all right, here, I need to make money by this time, or I need to just be able to scrape by. This is what we have to do. How
I
did you
will say,
decide?
I
Like,
will,
what was your decision matrix in that?
yeah, my decision matrix in that was, is it profitable now with increased expenses, increased cost of living, energy wise in this area, because everything's going up, electric, gas, water, sewer. Um, I looked at having a loan, a goodwill loan with the previous business partners on the books. And so I looked at 3 years of profit and loss statements and not just looked, like if you've ever done like a CMR before, like serial numbers and armory stuff, I was an XO and like at one point. So fine tooth comb, like seriously looked at every number. I looked at everything and any anomaly, anything weird that I saw in his months of profit and loss, big months, small months, big expense months. What does that mean? Um, I looked at all that stuff and I said, is this profitable after all of the dust settles when the business transaction is complete? And with the current model of the business, can it bring in money for my family? Can the business accumulate cash? Because cash in business is king. You need it. Um, and the answer was yes. And again, it just took me like 6 to 8 months of looking through like a stack and asking them and not just being naive because he was my friend. It was like, hey, dude, I need all this. And he was like, oh, I can get you like a year. I'm like, I need 3 years, man. Like, I need 3 years. I need balance sheets, income statements. I need everything. And then also not being afraid to push back on terms with this guy. And my wife works for a law firm. So get with a lawyer, go back and forth with terms, ask him, is there anything funky here? Would you worry about me on game day when I take over this place? And I made sure that this guy was like, I said, tear me apart. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me I'm in over my head. So it was scary. It was definitely scary. Self-employment is not for everybody. You're on, like, if you don't get out with 100% disability or you're not retiring, you're on the hook for your own healthcare. Um, you're on, like, if you don't set up your business like a S corp or something of that nature, you're looking at self-employment tax of about 15%, whereas right now you're paying 7.5% and your employer's paying another 7.5. So that's huge. So any money you make, you have to automatically figure about 15% of that out the window. Um, and then just pure liability. Insurance in business is huge. Yeah, S core is where it's at, and then guaranteed payments once a month, setting yourself up on payroll so you can set up a 401k, a self-employed 401k for yourself, and stuff like that. Like little things, little business nuances. No matter how big or small your business is, it doesn't matter if you own a bakery. Setting up an S core is probably the way to go,
Okay.
especially when you can predict your revenue well. But anyways, yeah. So I'm sorry. Get back to the point. I was super scared. Didn't know what it was going to look like. Knew I needed the CPA. Knew I needed the lawyer, and things just. I wouldn't say they figured themselves out. It's been an active process for the last year of working it, owning it. But I would say that yeah, I use QuickBooks for sure, and my CPA's in on, like, we have a joint account, so my CPA's in there building reports and stuff based on what I need. I'm monitoring the chat, Dave.
No, you're good.
Um,
You're good. You're good.
uh, so it's you gotta just you know this in the military, like you got better at your job doing it. You can't do business ownership before owning a business. So if you want to do it, just get your ducks in a row and jump in. That's my advice, and that you're going to get better as you go. Surround yourself with the right professionals. And one thing I don't take advantage of, which I need to, is I need to get a business mentor. I need a coach. I've been meaning to do that. I believe that they're worth their weight in gold. My whole model is coaching people. So why wouldn't I get one for business? So I've been at this point in my life where I'm actually on the hook with a couple potential coaches, and I want to obviously scale this business, get it to the next level, and that's what I think can make life a lot easier as I look at uncertainty into the future as well.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things too, like we miss the whole, like, if you're going to start your own business, it's a bigger learning venture than anything. And I guess that's probably the exciting part of it, that people maybe stay in it because you're always worried about something that you're like, I've never done this before, but I got to learn pretty quick, or I got to be able to have someone help me, or I got to hire someone. So what's it going to be? And I guess when you're starting a business, you might not have the money to just go, hey, let me just hire someone to do it. So
Yeah.
you do yourself and you say learn. we got a question for Richard, and then we'll get back to it. Go ahead, Richard.
Yes, sir. Can I call you Zach? Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, Zach. This is Ricky. My question is, you're talking about expanding and building up your business. What does that look like in 10 years for you?
Yeah, so 10-year plan, already working with a couple local, and I saw someone mention the Chamber of Commerce, so I am super involved with that. So if you're looking at scaling a business locally, if you're not looking to do anything like digital ad agency, I don't know, maybe you're going online. But if you're local and your target market's local, definitely Chamber of Commerce. I'm working with a couple business owners right now. What I'd like to do is scale this business into a more holistic wellness studio. I want to get actually away from just advertising it as totally CrossFit. I think the next level is going to be rest, recovery, nutrition. And so I'm also working with one of my coaches who's launching a meal prep company right now. And so she's been selling meals for a long time. She's just finally doing it officially. But scaling in the next 10 years looks like a brand that is continuous with the CrossFit brand itself. So people look at CrossFit Republic and know that we're pumping out quality results. So revenue coming in from remote programming around the nation, which we have revenue coming in from remote programming already, which is good. That was kind of step one is, will people buy this? Will people not license, but will people buy our programming for $40 a month, just to work out in their home gym, and people are doing it. So that's always great. Less overhead. People aren't using my equipment, less risk of breaking, less wear and tear on the equipment. If I can get 100 clients like that, that's $4,000 a month, right? That's nothing. The programming's happening no matter what. So it's easy, right? Next step for scaling is going to be building out the nutrition program. Nutrition's big money. It's essentially just mindset coaching. We're not dietitians. We're not scientists, doctors, whatever. This is straight up just helping people learn their macronutrients, building the nutrition coaching out so that it's not just local to the gym and the coaches inside the gym, but also scaling that coaching model out remotely so people can coach under the CrossFit Republic brand because we're bringing people in. And right now we already have our nutrition coaches in-house that are coaching people in Texas, California, all over the US. So we're doing it at a very small scale right now and with local coaches. And I think we can bring people on board in the future. So this looks like employing people outside of our geographic area as well. And that's that next step. And then ultimately, right, the building to bring everything all together. So we have a more professional, I would say, commercial space other than just your typical 10,000 square foot steel beam gym. Does that make sense? Like, I really want people to look at us like same way you would look at a LA Fitness or, a D1 or, whatever, imagine that really nice gym, big windows, Equinox style, right? Would love that model, working towards that model of a facility. So it just makes no sense to go anywhere else. So even bringing in a more conventional side of the lifting world into the gym, where we've got that 24/7 access capability if you don't want to do CrossFit. So I do want to phase out of just being CrossFit eventually. So
That's huge. Richard, that was a
Thanks,
great
Zach.
question. I think it opened up a lot of things as I was thinking. Matt, love the idea of being able to, like, you're at home, you still sign up with you, but I could do it at home if I have the equipment. So I
yeah,
follow up with the same programming, but it's just a program. A lot of personal trainers do that. I have a personal trainer myself
yeah,
doing powerlifting. And so,
yep,
and you're right. And I think scaling it to where it's like a all-inclusive thing, as opposed to, like, you're going to see gains, whatever you do, and then you're going to plateau. And then it's the next thing. All right. Maybe it's your nutrition that'll get you over the next one. Hey,
right.
maybe it's just technique that's going to get you over the next one. And then it just keeps growing and growing to where you're like, now you're pumping out an all-around athlete that hopefully, it represents you, which they will if they're buying from you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I came from a conventional lifting side, and played college sports, and CrossFit just worked really well for me. But I do know that as I age because just so you know, in our gym right now, it's not just CrossFit group classes. I've got kids program, super successful program. And not because of me. My coach is phenomenal. She's the one that worked with me hand in hand to build it, but she runs the whole thing. Ages 7 to 11, looking to get ages 4 to 6 here soon. We've got a master's program that's about 10 athletes right now. They're all 55 and up, and they show up twice a week. And they pay a pretty high premium just to work out twice a week for 4 weeks. And so that generation is retiring at a very high rate. And healthcare, Medicare, they still have to carry a supplemental plan, which means that's pretty expensive. So it costs a lot to be unhealthy for a retiree in America right now. So the push into health and wellness right now is huge. So like our master's program has blown up. We just started it, and it's already at 10 plus athletes. So we've got a lot going on in the gym right now. We've got the nutrition. So it's literally just doing this at a bigger level, and just getting out of that small town box mentality. So
Yeah, yeah. Jesse, go ahead.
Oh, hey, Zachary. I'm the guy with the CrossFit shirt. I don't know if you can see that.
yeah, I see it. Nice, man. Yeah, I love it. I can see it.
Yeah. So a couple questions for you. What's a average day for you as a CrossFit box owner?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I'll be honest, the some of the days are, I would say, a little bit more reactive than not, but in a typical day, I still get up really early to go to the gym. I've been going at like 4:45 or 6 a.m. I try to make my way around classes to go use my product so that the people at my gym see me using all the classes, different coaches, different days, all that type of stuff, right? So I'm using my product all the time. I check on the first thing I do every morning is I just check my billing report. I look at like, hey, are we, anyone was overdue? I had a gym manager. I ended up parting ways with her. She wasn't really doing what I was needing her to. So I'd taken that role on myself, but it wasn't really that much that she was doing. So I really just, number one, just checking finances. So like I check, how's our billing report going? I'm looking at overdue invoices. You're going to have a million of those, especially with like 400 members. You're like, and that's what a gym manager is good for, because I don't like actually messaging people and actually talking to them about updating their card info. Outside of that, I'm constantly working with my wife. We're building marketing plans, working with my coaches as we build other programs in the gym. So this day I might be working on like the apparel website that I'm working on with I don't know if you ever heard of the company Thick Boy, but one of my coaches is a Thick Boy franchise owner. We're standing up a website right now on Shopify so we can do apparel, which is part of our 10-year branding plan right now, so that people are wearing CrossFit Republic gear. We're undergoing a little bit of brand transformation as well, kind of like a rebrand. So building that website some days, other days working on a program specific to the gym. And then I really try to keep my Mondays and Fridays like non-revenue producing. So like it's like admin work. It could be payroll. It could be working on, like I said, something internally that has to do with like processes and systems, maybe for my front desk workers, or maybe for my childcare workers, or maybe just for the coaches. And so like even our Learn To program, I have a program before you even get to go to the CrossFit group classes. You have to take 9 classes of just basic Learn To. So I actually introduced a questionnaire for essentially like past injuries, just overall state of health, and then goals, so that they get a more consultative experience. So when they come in and look at our prices, they don't get that sticker shock, because they see everything we're giving to them that a regular gym just isn't going to do. No gym cares if you're there or not, if it's 24/7 gym. It's like come and go and cancel when you want. That's most gym models, right? And they want you to forget about your membership, honestly, and just keep paying it. It's like, we want our membership. We want you to notice it coming out of your bank account, but we want you to see it and go, that's probably the best money I spend a month, right? So anyways, so non-revenue producing stuff Mondays through Fridays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, either maintaining, building, or creating relationships with like local businesses. So some things that are non-revenue producing, but I think revenue retaining, is client retention. Nobody ever thinks about it. So I'm always partnering with like nonprofits to bring in community events that make people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. So we're always partnering with a different nonprofit once a month, and like doing a workout dedicated to that nonprofit, or an initiative dedicated to that nonprofit. People love it. Another thing that we constantly
that was,
do. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say that was going to be my follow-up question.
Yeah.
What do you do to maintain and build your community? And you started telling me about the nonprofit stuff.
Yeah. So the nonprofit partnership, huge. And yes, everyone wants a place to belong. Sean said that in the comments. And so it's not, if you make it not just a gym, if you make it people's third place, right? And they call it the third place because it's like, they've got home and they got work, but if they got CrossFit, it becomes their third place, right? So that's like their family. So then there's that. I partner with a local coffee shop. They bring in coffee every Thursday. It's free. I don't pay for it. They don't pay for it. And it just gets them staying at the gym, drinking coffee in the mornings. You get the 9 a.m. moms. I got like 30 of them, and they just show up. They got their kids running around. They sip coffee at the gym. They make friends. They stay. And then on Mondays we do essentially like you've probably seen all these like fancy tea places pop up that all say they're sugar free and stuff like that, and they're healthy and hydrate you. I don't really mess with that stuff. I'm like water and black coffee all day. But either way, I got they're called Rise Nutrition. They come in, they do tea on Mondays. In the summer, it was great because it's so hot. And then once again, you got people hanging out after workouts, sipping Rise tea, stuff like that. So that's how I build community. So I get people to stay at the gym, do big events. For Labor Day, we're doing Hot Shots 19, which is it's like a commemorative workout for 19 firefighters that passed away in Arizona back in 2013. So like bring them together around other people who have sacrificed and service and nonprofit. And again, it's like, and make it free. I make it free. So it's like they start bringing their friends in and their family in for some of these big events. And then all of a sudden they see the special things happening. And then all I need is a couple more of your friends and family to get you to stay put. Because now it's becoming a family affair for you. And now you've got accountability partners, even though you got some friends in the gym, you've got some people that really want to see you there, because you're the one that pulled them in. So it's a lot, it's a lot of stuff like that. So my Tuesday through Thursday, like I said, it can be very dynamic. I don't try to be too rigid at all. Like I try to be very flexible to opportunities that pop up. But Mondays and Fridays, I really block them off and guard them because they just like people can really eat up those days, as you guys all know, even in the military. Like Monday, Friday is like admin stuff. If you're not in the field doing work, that type of work.
Yeah.
But Tuesday through Thursdays is like, that's typically your range days and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? So did that answer your question, Jesse?
Yeah, 100%. And last question, man, what's your favorite I don't know, your favorite your workout? Like, is it burpees? Is it muscle ups? What do you like doing?
I love doing double unders and handstand push-ups.
Oh no. I hate both of those.
I can't do a double under, man, to save my life. I've been trying.
If you give me double unders and a handstand push-up, dude, I'll lose my mind. I've always been way better at the gymnastics and plyo stuff and have tried to be a better lifter, but I've never been the strongest. So.
Oh, okay. I like the strong stuff. I like lifting heavy. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's a good time. It makes you feel confident, Yeah. So
yeah,
that's what
totally. Thanks, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Jesse, that was great. And as you were explaining everything, I was like, man, that's a full plate, man. That's not like sometimes you look at someone that starts a business and you go, man, they don't look that busy, right? They look happy. But then you're like, you hear what their schedule's like and you're like, oh my God, could I do that? Right? Like you question yourself and it's like, it's almost a little bit motivating seeing that, like, I guess where you're most satisfied is when you're busy and on top of your game. That's when you feel like you're in the mode, and it sounds like you're in that mode right now. That's like just capitalizing. And then I see that you're doing a podcast as well, right? Like, talk to me about that, because it's like, okay, you got that busy of a schedule, and then you're going, hey, I also do a podcast, which is like, golly, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. I love the name, by the way.
The Daily
Forge. It's kind of like, if you think about it, have you ever forged anything? Everybody in the chat could probably just tell me. If you ever forged anything, it's skillful and it's not as easy as you think. I've done plenty of knives and I'm like, oh my God,
for sure.
But talk to us about that, because it's like you have a busy schedule, you're giving and taking, you try to provide a lot of things free because it brings people to the gym, but then you're like, I want to even do more.
Yeah.
Podcasts.
Yeah. It really spawned out of like, so I'm like the most Dollar General philosopher you'll ever meet. So I've got a lot of thoughts, always writing stuff down. And I think that's when like entrepreneurship for me was like the click, because I was like, I've got all these ideas and, they're driving me insane. And so I was writing stuff down and and all the ideas were like things I wanted to give people, things I was struggling with, things I was, things I was struggling with like post-military or even during the military, as I was getting out. And so my whole idea of being a coach had been like just making people feel better than I was feeling, and no one knew kind of what was happening under the surface with me, but if I can make people feel better, it almost made me feel better, right? So the Daily Forge came out of the idea that like I finally accepted the fact that life is a forge, right? And everything you do is just you're in the fire, and it's nothing is this will never get easier. I can scale this business to Hormozy level, and it's not going to get easier. It just gets more complicated. So life, it just depends on like how you want to look at it, but like it's going to be suffering. And even if you have $1 million, you're still going to be hungry. Like at some point, right? Your belly's going to feel like, oh, time to eat, right? That's suffering. You're going to be thirsty. That's suffering. So I was like, life is just, it is a forge, right? Like it's like trying to get to your, if from a basic level, it's getting to your next meal. From a higher level, it's scaling a business. It's trying to get out of the military and just land a good job and make sure your family's taken care of, and don't expect it to be easy and don't expect it to be not cold, right? But like just not volatile. It is intense. It is a very intense process, and that's okay. Accept that soon, and then throw yourself into it every single day, and hone it and refine what you're working on. So the Daily Forge was a project that came out of a guy at my gym who I think lives it, and he had been really integral part of my transition out of the Marine Corps. And I got with him and said, I've got this idea. I post a lot on like LinkedIn and Facebook, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not the way I want to express myself. I had this idea of connecting with people through this podcast, and he was like, hey, I'd love to just help you. So we started that a couple months ago. We've recorded 6 episodes. I've had a newborn recently. And I also volunteer at PB Abate. It's a nonprofit. If you guys have not heard of it, I would check out pbabate.org. I'm actually heading to Montana tomorrow to run a strength and conditioning retreat with them for some vets, but it's all volunteer, but it's free for vets to go if they get selected for one of the club retreats. But Daily Forge also came out of my experience with PB Abate and seeing a lot of vets struggling. And I think they expected something that just wasn't true out of the world out here. And it's like we all think that the military is the hardest thing we're going to face. But I will tell you what, it's the last year and a half, 2 years. How long I've been out? 2023 September. This has been harder than the military by far. Maybe I've made it hard by going this route. But just it's hard because the military really cares you exist. I'm sure my members care that I exist, so they have a gym to walk into every day. But other than my family, I don't think I'm like this is not life and death out here. You're just not as relied upon. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you got to make yourself an asset out here, and you got to, whether it's for your family or whatever. I don't know if you don't tie your personality up in being an asset, it might not matter to you. But for me, I've always tried to be an asset to teams, and in some jobs, you might not be the asset that you're capable of for them, and that's kind of what was happening to me. And in business, it's like the best asset you can be is an asset to the community or the clients you're trying to help and the business you're trying to grow, and then the family you're trying to ultimately support from the finances. So for me, like this is me being an asset out here, and it's hard. So that's kind of where hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah, no, I think what you just said, like just being an asset, like I never thought of it like from that point of view, we talk about being productive, hey, do something that makes your mind grow physically, whatever. And then, but you're like, but it's an asset. Like if you think about if everybody thought of you as an asset, you're doing everything right. It might be
Yeah.
hard, but at the end of the day, you're being an asset to your family. Hey, that's fine. I'm providing them financially and spiritually, whatever. And then at the same time, you have clients, you have a business, and they see you as an asset because they love going there. This is like their time
Yeah,
away from home and work to go, you know what? I'm just going to crush here in the gym, give it
for
my
sure.
all, get my day started. Because I'm a morning workout guy as well. I like to do something in the morning because if I don't, I feel like crap the rest of the day trying to lead into like a bigger workout. But I love the way you put that, the whole asset thing, as,
Thanks.
being that, because it kind of tells you that's like the continuous growth thing. And I think
Yeah.
we all talk about it. It's just one of those things. There's other words that may resonate with people in this chat. To me, I kind of pick that out as like the asset thing. But I look at it like, what's next for you? I know you want to grow your business. Besides the business and what you're doing now, like what's next for you? Is there another thing you want to do, or is it just like, let me just
Yeah.
chew on this for a little bit before I can go, hey, I
Yeah.
can take some more food in my mouth and do something else.
I'm doing something kind of crazy right now. It's kind of hard, but I'm working with it. So 2 years ago, before the CrossFit was even an idea, I got with this Springfield, Missouri local police officer who knew me as a recruiter, and he saw Springfield Police Department was really struggling in their recruiting efforts. And he said, "Hey, man, I saw what you did in the Marines on the officer side. I always followed your posts and your pages, and you were like really successful at it. Could you kind of can you teach me some things about like what you were doing?" So I went over like literally Marine Corps recruiting, volume 2, Volume 1, Officer Commissioning Manual, Enlisted Processing Manual. I said, this is all the stuff, man. This is like literally just SOP, and it works. In the Marine Corps, they do a lot with a little, and just street pounding, ground pounding recruiters. And so anyways, we ended up linking up, and we started this business called Civic Hire. And we are essentially white labeling a CRM, working with digital marketing agencies, and also conducting just training and consulting services for police departments to help grow their police departments and successfulully convert more leads to police officers, because they're really all struggling right now with hiring. So it's very challenging. I was just on the call with them before you guys. Two of the business partners are in Scotland. They're both ex-Army officers, one of which I went to college with, which we didn't even talk in college, but got linked up 10 years later, which is crazy. So I'm working on this project. I call it a project. It really is a full-blown business at this point. And we're really looking to it's like, yes, there's money to be made, but we also all align with the fact that like Springfield Police Department's down 80 officers, and like that's just super dangerous, and our city has gotten super dangerous. So we know there needs to be better qualified people, and police departments need to do a better job in their lead funnels of getting them there. They just don't put enough resources into it. So we're hoping to really just completely revamp what police department recruiting looks like, and hopefully in the future public service recruiting in general, to really mimic the military style, because I think the military does it well, no matter how arduous it is. I'm sure there's 200 people in this chat. I'm sure there's at least a couple of recruiters that can attest to the grind of. I think Vanessa has had a question for a while.
Yeah, sorry Vanessa. Go ahead, Vanessa. Sorry.
Oh, I did not have a question. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
No,
but yeah,
I love that mission, man. I'm actually, I got hired on. I start 8 September to be a sheriff here in town. And you're right.
Congrats.
Like, other than Seven Eagle telling me like, hey, go look at the county website, reach out to them, see if you could do AJT with them for the time being, anything you can get involved, just to see, so you could see if this is a fit for you. Yep. And then on the other side of it, like I said, like, physically fit, being someone that wants it, that's a different person, right? That's a specific person we're looking for. And sometimes people just don't know that could be their niche, because they just see it from a surface level. They see videos of it and they're like, oh, I don't want to, it's dangerous and this and that. So I love that mission, man, because I wish our county was like a little bit more out there when it comes to either just recruiting or just presence, other than patrolling on a car, right? That's what people usually think of.
For sure, and I won't get too down the rabbit hole of like the police specific stuff for the nature of everybody here, but like, I think the biggest lesson out of it is that you make this assumption when you look at the world that everyone's got their stuff together. Businesses, government works, people, they really don't. No one's doing as well as you think. And so what that means is, if you're in the interest of entrepreneurship, if you can identify people's pain points and then genuinely care about giving them a solution that works, that's business ownership, right? Now, how do you find the people? How do you get this to this? That's marketing and sales, right? So if you don't got the marketing and sales funnel figured out, which right now we're doing like enterprise sales cycle with a government, which is like business on hard mode. It's the hardest way to sell software as a service and digital marketing, but we're doing it. We're working really, really hard. It's a lot of cold calling, right? I'm doing some cold calling on my free time too. But regardless of that, just like from an entrepreneurship standpoint, we identified this problem and realized that police departments all over the US, there's 70, we did the math, it was like, maybe not 70, but there's 14,000 police departments across the US. 90% of them are understaffed. And also all of the boomers are retiring. So now they're losing staffing at about a 14 to 15% rate every single year. So we found this problem and we said, let's see if we can help. So if you guys are ever like, looking at things, just like start paying more attention to efficiency models. Like, is this as efficient as it could be? Do I know something that they don't? Can I connect them to that thing? Even if I don't make it, can I connect them? And so even just business in general, sometimes just connecting. My goal is to have my coaches be a better coach than I ever was. And as a business, I'm connecting clients with really good coaches. That's it. Right. So if you look at yourself as a connector, that's how you remove yourself from the business. That's how I can sit at home most of my days and do this work on my laptop, and I don't live in the gym down the road. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it too, like what you're saying is like, sometimes we look at a business as competition, which it clearly is, but sometimes it just like, you helping someone else, they'll help you out with something, and then just you guys end up being like a team that you didn't know that you're affiliated team. I just had a tree service come, and he's a stump grinder, but he has a tree service that he teams up with. And it just so happens that I was like, hey man, I also need a tree done. He's like, well, I don't do the tree
Understood.
stuff, but my partner does.
Yep.
And we teamed up, a couple years ago. So it's just huge to see that, like, I guess like that reassurance that there's a lot of good people out there that are just willing to help, even if it's not them doing it, they're
Mhm.
making the connections, right? And I love doing that with people. If like people call me for a favor and I'm like, hey man, I can't do it for you, but I know someone that kind of has an in for you. I'm gonna give you his number. I'll give you a little quick vouch, and that's it, man. The rest is yours.
There's
So
companies that we all interface with on a daily basis that are that do hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue a year, and you'd be really surprised by how little organic products they actually have created in house, and how much of their services and products will come from white labeling or partners. They say we can deliver this. All they're doing is connecting you. And I learned this in the e-commerce world when we were building websites and stuff, like that. It was crazy. And I'm like, so we don't actually do cloud storage or, cloud security. Like, no, we do that through, we process payments through Braintree, which is a PayPal partner, a partner of a partner. Oh, we do, cloud security through Cloudflare or Datadog, right? It's just like, oh, okay. So making what, hundreds of millions of dollars, literally just saying, hey, you have this product, yeah, we need that. So anyways, it's just, if you think about things like that, of not having to invent every single part of the car you're trying to build, the business stuff gets a lot less intimidating.
that's
Just be
huge.
a people connecting.
Yeah, like just the power of connection, right? And Seven Eagle talks about it. We love bringing people
Yeah.
like you on to just like that promote that, right? A healthy way of like just connecting with people, handshake, conversation. Maybe it's just a Zoom like thing we're doing here, and it's awesome. I know you're a busy man. And I know we're coming up on the hour. We could probably talk about different rabbit holes as we go through, which I love it. Is there anything that you can leave us with and all these veterans with of like transition? Kind of like here should be your focus if you're struggling or you just need a little bit of advice because that's what we're here for, right? I want to help
Yep.
these guys and gals like if they're struggling or if they have like this one problem they just haven't like someone hasn't said it the right way to them maybe what would that advice be for you to them?
Um, if you feel like this is the hardest thing you've ever done, it might be, and that's okay. Because there's no wrong way other than to not do anything at all. That's what I'd say. You're not doing anything wrong as long as you're doing something. Because there's hundreds of thousands of military folks out there. Hundreds and thousands will transition. That means that there's hundreds of thousands that are going to do this differently. Just start, like Richard just said in the chat. Like just start, just go a direction. And if you're struggling of saying where do I start, start with your friend group that's gotten out. Start there. It's the easiest introductions. Do you know where you're going to go? If you don't worry about it. Just call some people. Hey, I'm going to call a buddy. I'm just going to reconnect with him. I haven't talked to him in a while. We weren't really that close in our unit, but I just want to chat, and learn about what he's doing. See if you can start that. And then what I would do is don't ever get off the phone with anybody until they can maybe introduce you to like one or two other people that maybe is like branches off into a topic that you were interested in from that conversation. Maybe it's like, yeah, hey, I'm working my way to do this degree in accounting, because my buddy, he owns an accounting business and like he crushes it. And it's like, okay, do you think your buddy would want to connect with me? And he's like, oh, he's a super busy guy, but maybe. Okay, well, can I get his contact info? Connect, right? And like the more you connect with people, like the better, the more confidence you'll start feeling, the better questions you'll start asking, and also the more options you'll start to eliminate. Because everyone tells you, and you get out of the military, you can do everything. Dude, you wouldn't give a kid on a plate of food too many options. They would overwhelm them. They probably wouldn't eat anything at all. They just freak out, right? I have a toddler, right? That's why I say this. Like
Yeah.
limit, like narrow your scope. Narrow your scope. And the only way to do that is to have conversations and learn about, like, you'll hear it, you'll know what they tell. Hey, what's day-to-day life like look like, just like you asked me. Some people probably on this call, like, I don't want that. I need way more structure than that. Some people are like, hey, I need that 9 to 5. I need structure. That life sounds chaotic. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just two different flavors of people. So anyways, that's my advice, is like connect with people, do something, have action, move forward, because there's no wrong way other than to sit on your hands and do nothing. and then just be like, oh, well, the military didn't help me. Like they didn't set me up for success. There's so many non-military entities out there right now and so many different career paths on like Instagram and Facebook that you can follow that give you the blueprint for studying for certain tests. If you want to go to MBA or you want to go to, if you want to go to like med school or something, you know, one of my assaultmen, rocket guys from the infantry is a PA now. And like he went to med school after the Marine Corps, you know? And so there's just like, that's great. That's awesome. He's an infantry guy gone PA. That's amazing. So anyways, there's so many different paths. And it was just like, I would just say like, explore, ask people, hey, what helped you transition? Is there any resources that you use? Any pages I should follow? Any communities I should be part of? Like Seven Eagle, like learn about these places because then you'll get into the right one and you'll be like, oh, I didn't know that Platinum Edge did a $99 Scrum Master certification when it costs like $1,200 for civilians. I did that one when I got out. That's the only reason I bring it up. Or like that PMP. I'm pretty sure they'll like pay for your whole first PMP test. I forgot who does that. University of Syracuse University out of New York. They'll pay for your PMP. All you have to do is like do the studying, do the class. There's a 5-day class that you have to do. It's free, usually costs money, and you get to take the test twice or maybe 3 times for free. It's a hard test, but again, if you want to be a project manager, there's just like so many programs. The only reason I know about this is because I connected with people. I didn't know about this stuff when I was in. I just called, emailed, connected on LinkedIn, and just started the conversation, put myself out there, wasn't afraid to sound stupid. Because at that point, I was stupid, right? I didn't know, right? So it's okay, be vulnerable. Like it's okay. It's uncertain. Just accept that you're not going to be a subject matter expert anymore. So get that pride out of the way and it will open the doors in front of you of options, of the right options for you. So does that answer that question?
Yeah, man, I love that, Zachary. Man, that's huge. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all this stuff. We shared your LinkedIn, so you might get a couple of LinkedIn requests to ask
Yeah, no worries.
questions. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insight, and we'll see you in the future. I
Yeah,
definitely
thank you
like to see you
guys.
back here.
Can I just say hi? I wanted to jump in, Zachary. I'm Jordy. Man, that was friggin' awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much. I love your transparency. I love all the lessons you shared with everyone. That was just all spot on, man. Thank you so much for doing this. And David, thank you for emceeing, man.
No worries. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jordy. I appreciate that, man. It's a
You
pleasure.
got it,
Thank you for listening to me for an hour. I
I loved
appreciate
it.
you guys.
I loved it, man. We'll get you
All right.
back. Take care.
All right.
Zachary, take it easy, man.